Okay, folks, while we continue to look for somebody who'll give some love to those who have logical reasons for looking into Elenin, uh, we just see continually attempts to debunk the crazy conspiracy theories. Um, this one does that, doesn't give any love to the logical individuals, and in fact gets some information wrong. It says the comet won't get closer than Venus, and it will. If you think nothing's happening in the world, you're probably not alone. This does feel a bit to be like the calm of the storm. Unless, of course, you're in southern Australia where the meningitis outbreak happened, or you're in the south of France where you have legitimate concerns about how much radiation may have been leaked at that explosion, the reactor. If you live in Iceland, you know that you got volcanoes to worry about. You're living in Texas, you sure don't think nothing's happening. You're basically, half your state is on fire. Earthquakes, volcanoes, mass animal deaths. I mean, even just this morning, September 13th, after an explosion near the US Embassy that scared a bunch of people, it got worse as Taliban insurgents began firing rockets at the US Embassy. By the time you watch this, I'm sure there will be numerous updates that you can look into. Let's have a quick look at the sun. Now, we noticed that Elenin was bringing a lot of CMEs, or at least they were occurring last week when this sunspot over here was facing it. Now you see all of the white that surrounds what was Earth-facing sunspot 11283. Now if you see, although this sunspot here, 11289, looks fairly ominous, it doesn't have that white around it, which can be attributed to significant solar activity around the sunspot. Now look at all these solar active regions that are going to be turning towards the Earth. Well, it'll be really interesting to see if Elenin gets hit with some more CMEs and solar flares. You think that sounds ridiculous? What you're watching here, and for the next couple of minutes of this video, you're going to see an interaction between the coronal hole in the middle of the sun there and the sunspot that was producing all of those solar flares and coronal mass ejections. This is from September 10th. That solar active region has since turned to limp. And as you'll see here, alright, watch the cursor. You see this matter come off the sun right there? And you see this trough opens up and gets lighter right next to the coronal hole. And as the gas bands start, you can see it come to a head there. And here's a pretty good look at how the energy tracks from the center of the sun to the sunspot. There's a lot of stuff that we don't understand about the sun. That mass that came off the sun there, this trough that opens up, this seemingly light connection or electric connection between the edge of that coronal hole and the sunspot that was throwing out those flares and coronal mass ejections. We really need to watch as that sunspot turns over the left side, the eastern limb, if you will, whether or not it fires any more solar flares out at Elenin or the Earth. If you know anything about Comet Neat or about comets and CMEs in general, you know that there's a lot of speculation about that. The next week is going to be very interesting. You need to watch the sun and watch what it does in relation to Elenin. There's a lot to be learned. There's a lot to see. There's a lot to take in. A lot of things can't be explained. Seriously, go out before sunrise and see how big Jupiter looks and tell me it's ever looked that big in your entire life. You know, we usually get pretty quick responses from NASA when we email them, even about Comet Elenin. But we get no response when we ask about Jupiter. When we ask about the connection that we're witnessing here between the coronal hole and the solar active region 11283. And we get no answer about CMEs hitting comets. Now, normally not getting an answer from NASA might not seem like a big deal, but there are two individuals there who recognize our email address and know that we don't ask crazy questions and usually respond to us very quickly, except on those issues. Keep an eye out this week, folks. Elenin and the Sun. Be safe.